as far as this Ben Johnson to the Bears, I mean, very insightful to understand that they were his number one choice. He was obviously their number one choice, and it got done so quickly. You talked about the process of asking the questions, and the Bears said you could ask whatever needed to be asked, and you said they were pretty transparent. What were some of the questions that you were asking? What did you want to know? What did Ben Johnson, and through you, his
Guys,
agent, want to know?
I'm a super transparent guy, but man, you're really going deep with me. Um, in general, I can't really disclose these specific questions, but for Ben, as I stated over and over again, it was alignment and a recognition of the organization that previous dysfunction was going to walk out the door. And so the questions I asked were, very direct in the sense that, you know, are you married to this roster? If it doesn't fit Ben's vision, are you willing to move on from certain guys, whether no matter how much you like or dislike them? Um, do you have your house in order? What have you learned from the last 3 years? Things like that. And I got very honest, transparent answers to the point where I was extremely comfortable that there was recognition and a willingness to, I guess, move into the 2025 world and start building a champion.
I think that that's one of the most valid questions we have, Rick. I know you are locally based and understand at least the desires, sorrows, and all of the above of Bears fans and those who observe the Bears. That's my question is we hear a lot from the Bears about what people learn on the job, especially in the executive roles of the front office and the coaching staff on their teams. You know that history well. So to have an answer that was acceptable to you and your client, who was the most popular candidate of the coaching cycle, it had to be significant. What can you tell us about that piece of it that you took away?
I think in general, the Bears prior to Kevin Warren was really a mom and pop shop. The same people had been there for 100 years. And they got comfortable in the way they did business, and it worked for them, but it was difficult for them to keep up with how things around the league were working. And then when Kevin came in, who had been in two different NFL organizations for a significant period of time, then with the Big Ten Conference, I think he was able to kind of explain to them and show them, how a building is structured, how a front office is structured, what it takes to attract top talent, both financially, but more importantly, just otherwise. And Kevin's work in that regard really came out quickly to me that, man, he really has worked hard and spent all that time after Coach Eberflus was fired, basically explaining to them that, if we want the best, we better act like the best and present a case that shows it's more than words, that there's actually going to be action. And Kevin did a great job with that. Ryan did a great job with that and got Ben comfortable right away. Got me comfortable. I was probably the bigger critic because, like you said, I've been around for a long time. I've dealt with, I started way back in the Mark Hatley days, working with the Bears organization. I was a player agent for 25 years. And so I've seen it all. And I was really pleasantly surprised. And one other thing that I have to note, the unsung hero in all of this is Jeff King with the Bears. He's a superstar.
Why?
I represent it. He's great because he just is a football guy. He gets it. He understands it. He's been in the locker room. He knows what players need. He knows what to look for. I represented him his whole career. That guy was like a GM the first day he walked in the NFL. That's the way, some guys are meant to be coaches. This guy's meant to be a GM. And man, we would talk every day. And I'm telling you, we didn't miss a day. And he would just walk me through, and he was so honest about, and got me comfortable that it was a place to land. He really did. And I can't give him enough credit. I can't give Ryan enough credit, and I can't give Kevin enough credit. Then ultimately, I can't give George enough credit when he stepped up when he needed to right at the last hour.
When I read an unnamed NFL executive talking about the questions that he would have for the Bears, one had to do with simply what a day at the office is like for the coach in their structure. To whom am I responsible and when? When am I meeting with George? Am I meeting with Kevin? Am I also meeting with Ryan? How many meetings do I have? What's my day like? Did it get that granular? Did Ben Johnson have to say to you, hey, just find out if I'm going to be happy going to work?
Yeah, I mean, that was part of my vetting process, and let me tell you, it's real simple. It's not as complex as other people have made it out to be. And believe me, there's organizations where owners waste your time a lot. Presidents of team waste your time a lot. This is not one of them. This is basically Ben Johnson, Ryan Poles, his staff tying themselves at the hip, starting to break down this roster, understanding what Ben's vision looks like. And that's the key. Ben has an absolute vision. And now you'll have to ask him in detail what that means. But he has an exact vision of how to build this team, what skill set he's looking for, what personality he's looking for. And I'm not sure the Bears have had that in a while, that kind of clear vision. And Ben is so smart and has that vision. And that's all they ever needed. They needed a clear vision. And now they've got it. And when you get that vision, your job gets a lot easier. Now it's just go finding those players. And they will not have any interference whatsoever from the president, from the ownership. They'll be advised, of course, but they will not say no at all if that's what these guys want.
We're joined by Rick Smith, Priority Sports President and the agent for newly named Bears head coach Ben Johnson. One of the things, Rick, that I was struck by was you talking about, because we had, we're media members. We try to envision when the Bears tell us there's going to be all these people involved in the interview from the Bears side. It's going to be so many different windows of say a Zoom call or something. But the way you laid it out, you said the first thing that happened was a one-on-one with Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson, and they kind of got in, got out, and they felt very comfortable with each other. Is that to say that was the onus for him wanting to take that job before talking even to George McCaskey, Kevin Warren, and the rest of the gang? Because I always said, hey, they both were at BC. They're the same age, basically. There's going to be an easy relatability just from that angle.
Yeah, so I don't want to blow Dan Bernstein's mind right now.
Yeah, do that, please.
Do it.
But I'm going to.
Yes.
This was the best process I've seen in a heck of a long time from any team in the National Football League.
Wow. How about
All
it?
right.
How about it?
Because here's what they did, and that meeting between Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson, that one-on-one was so important because they had to come out feeling good about each other, and giving them that forum to do it under NFL rules where you can only do it virtually was absolutely fantastic. And it's the only team that does something like that. Then they moved into their group process, and that group was very small. It was George McCaskey, it was Kevin Warren, it was Ted Cruz, it was Ryan Poles, and it was Jeff King. That's it.
Oh, so Liz Geist wasn't on that initial interview.
Who?
Liz Geist, the HR?
She's an HR, yeah.
Oh, Liz was there, but
she wasn't saying anything. I got you.
She was there, but and that was it, man. It was football. Everything was about football. They didn't ask him, if you were a tree in the forest, what tree would you be and why?
This was not the combine, is what you're saying? As
Didn't
a
make him
player
shoot
agent,
any
you
darts,
know the crazy stories that come out of the combine.
Bags.
No, they just talk ball, man, and vision and alignment, and then it concluded with a one-on-one with George and Kevin, so that there was that same comfort. Can they get comfortable with each other, etc. And that was it. It was 3 hours long, and they were sold. You had me at hello.
Well, we've been following what you do and what your colleagues, your competitors do in representing coaches in a new and different way. And I think part of this is because what we kept learning after the fact about the outsized influence of Trace Armstrong. We know our dear friend Kalen Kaler just wrote a wonderful piece for ESPN talking about the power of coaching agents and because teams are insular and insulated and having to reach out in that regard. Is this a new era of transparency? Do you think that what you're doing is in coming out and talk, obviously it's good for your client and obviously it's good for the Bears. You're a terrific advocate for the message of things going well. But do you think that we will see maybe less secrecy and pull the curtain back a little bit in the representation of coaches?
No. Unfortunately, no. I'm different. I've been doing this a long time, and I don't understand this, secrecy, curtains, controlling a building, putting a staff together. That's not our role. I mean, our role is to gather information, use the experience you have, the credibility you hope you've developed through the years, and be able to vet this like nobody else can in a way that is respectful, professional, and doing right by your client. And once you get all that information, you have to then present it to your client and let him make the decision, not making the decision for him. And once he makes that decision, then if you're a coach with choices, and guys, there isn't a lot of coaches out there who have choices, believe me. It's more, there's a lot of guys who have very short windows, will take any job that's offered to them, no matter what's going on. And it's just a matter of trying to get that job. But Ben, who had choices, it was getting in there and vetting it with each team. And then once he said that, go try to get a deal done with the Bears, my style is always, it's not to get 3 offers and start leveraging teams against each other. You know where the numbers are going to come. You know what the right deal is. And you go to the first team and said, you got a shot. Let's go. And I'm going to give you a short window to get it done. And then you find out, are they really willing to step up? Do they have that conviction for the guy? Is he going to have the runway he needs to be successful? That tells a lot. And the Bears stepped up and we got it done in half a day. They signed a contract and we marked it up back and forth, and it was ready to go by Tuesday, and where he came in to sign it and get going.
I know Ben Johnson talked in his press conference about what he liked about the Bears, but when you two were going over what you wanted in a team, what were the priorities there as far as what resulted?
I don't want to be a broken record, and guys, my 15 minutes is about to be up, so I'm all good with it.
Right.
But, it was really, was the infrastructure in place to build a team that can sustain excellence, right? I mean, let's go through it. The Bears won the '85 Super Bowl and weren't there again until that godforsaken pouring rain game in Miami, and then they were gone again. That's not sustained excellence. That's flash in the pan 1 year stuff. So what you have to figure out is are the pieces in place to build a team that can sustain excellence? The Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, etc. So, that's what you're hoping to achieve. And he just came from a place that you think the Bears were dysfunctional. Man, Detroit was like worse. And they changed ownership, well, not changed, the same family, but they put a different person in charge. And now they've built a team that's going to have sustained excellence. So he just came from a place where it happened. He's been through it. He knows what it looks like, and he just needs the patience in order to allow him to, this is not a rebuild here, but there will be changes, and it's going to take a minute for those changes to come into fruition. And what you want to do is, by the end of the year, man, do you have hope, right? Do you see that light at the end of the tunnel? Do you see where this is going? And when the players do, and the fans do, and you guys do, things are pretty good. It's when you lose that hope that things get real bad real quick.